Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. It is the 30th of November, last day of November. We have a lot going on. There's a lot going on right now. So, tons of news to digest. We've got the treasuries rolling over. We've got a bunch of news coming through. We got, let's see here. Oh man, you know what? I gotta turn that off. That is my other microphone. And there we go. Fix that. Okay, I was like, what's going on here? We got a ton going on. Treasuries rolling over. End of the month flows coming in. End of the month flows coming in. Tons of geopolitics stuff. Big calls coming today with output cuts for oil. The Mossad is killing people in Iran. It's just, I'm overwhelmed by the number of things to think about today. Mika Skirma says, hi there, how are you? Good. All right, let's go through the charts and see where we're at. So coming into the holiday, well, let's see here, really the Thursday, the 26th was the holiday. So last day that we traded was the 25th, right? We had that huge boost going up there. Again, another vaccine thing. Since then, we've kind of been going sideways, actually a little bit down. I'm going to bet you that we're seeing a lot of equity flows coming in, buying up, and the larger funds that have to rebalance at the end of the month or quarter or whatever, selling into them. And I would expect to see a lot more of that today, it being the last day of the month. They probably, tried to hold it off as long as they could. Here in the treasuries are rolling over. You can see the rollover gap. It is a little bit lower, but they already kind of, I don't know. I mean, they're going to fill that gap all the way up to 138.13. I don't know. Could definitely happen. But you can see a change there in the spreads as well. Very, very interesting. Let's look at the knob spread over here. Then, oh wow, the knob spread really flattened there. So, okay, here's oil again. Oh man, were we looking at oil or not? The E-mini? Yeah, we were. The E-mini oil are tracking pretty closely though, right? Gold, on the other hand, gold just getting killed, man. It keeps going and keeps going, and now they are below 1800. Copper continues to go up. So what's the deal with gold? Well, one thing is that the dollar is just not going so well. So it could be, I think that if you were to look at gold in non-dollar denominated terms, it probably doesn't look quite as bad. But yeah, the dollar continues to just get reamed. So today, in particular, we have an interesting dynamic going on because we've got the dollar is falling and they're selling equities off overall, which are kind of a opposite of what the flow usually is. So, now then, what we got here?
Winston's mom says good morning and I hope your weekend was nice. Hi, day traders. I'm puttering around and just listening. You sound better, speculator said.
Oh yeah. Once they took those stints out of my nose, it was a lot better. Although there's still a lot of I don't know how to say. It's just still kind of sore up in there. Still some inflammation. Anyways,
Brandon Robbins says, what's the main cause behind the dollar falling?
I'm not sure if there's any one particular thing involved in the dollar falling other than the expectation that there will continue to be stimulus and lots of money thrown at the economy, and the fact that the dollar was already way too high to begin with because of flight to safety over the pandemic. So, the fall in the dollar is long overdue. Pretty much everybody is short the dollar, which has made it a really hard trade because when it comes up, it comes back up really hard. We're getting a bunch of Canadian numbers here at the bottom of the hour, but nothing that's affecting the market too strongly. What was I going to say? Squawk is like really loud in my ear today. Turn him down. Okay, yeah. Oh, and by the way, we have a good video coming out today again. I've kind of been slacking on the videos past few weeks because, reasons, but this week I made sure it got done. I had all that free time and I spent almost all of it on this video. So, but it's a very different video. So, when it releases in an hour, when the market opens, definitely go and take a look at it. We're talking about expectancy and performance metrics. So it's a lot of information that I'm hoping that the majority of my regular viewers know. But, there's so many tiny little details that you can pick up that can be useful. So even if you're familiar with the subject, I'm hoping that it'll be useful to you. It's also probably going to be a little bit of, controversy or skepticism about it because I go through a lot of like the performance metrics that I look to meet and certain types of strategies that I have concerns about. And I'm not trying to say, oh, you shouldn't trade X way. If you trade X way and it works out for you, then by all means, more power to you. But it was kind of more of a caution that, hey, especially if you're new, this might not be for you. So yeah, and it's a long video too, by the way. It's a 30-minute video. So yeah. And we use this chalkboard. Do you see the chalkboard behind me? Woohoo. I don't know what we're going to do with that. We could maybe... maybe we'll zoom the camera out a little bit in the future and we'll start writing messages up there or something. Of course, whatever I write is probably going to be blurred, but I have to say I'm so happy with how it turned out because I was thinking, I need to get a chalkboard because I very often find myself wanting to draw things or point to things and not being able to do it because... you need a board of some sort, really. And I thought maybe a whiteboard, and then I tried like 2 different chalkboards. So finally we found this nice one that came out of a church that is like, I think that it's enameled steel, but it would work so well. It writes well, it cleans off really well. It absolutely no glare off of it. So super happy about that. Okay, well, markets are pretty quiet overall. Again, I want to point out that the liquidity has already moved over in the treasuries, which I didn't realize was going to happen per se. But I guess, it happening over the weekend and everything. For some reason, Ninja Trader didn't want to, when I rolled over everything yesterday because I hate doing it on stream. It's just kind of like oh, there we go. For some reason, ZF didn't roll over on the same day as all of the other ones did. But now it wants it to roll over, so we can do that. By the way, equities trading a pretty good range overnight. They were started all the way up at 50, and they're down 50 points in the overnight session. That is pretty crazy. Really, 45 points. And now climbing back 36, 35. That is something else. Oh, we didn't talk about Bitcoin either, did we? Bitcoin took a dive. I mean, I think that we were saying that it would get below 10,000, I think. And clearly this is not your your bubble collapse, right? That is one guy. Hold on, I'm like digesting here still and stuff. That to me is like maybe one big guy sold, or they're just pushing it down to try and get some better prices so that they can, do another push. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see another push, or maybe even two, coming from Bitcoin. I'm starting to wonder if we have enough time, like if it's really going to completely collapse before the end of the year. We may have to wait for that, more like that 6 months time frame, right? But it definitely gives you kind of an idea of like the sort of issues that you're dealing with there in Bitcoin. But I mean, look at it, big drop down, and then they almost immediately tried to bounce it back up. So we'll see if they're able to make a new high here or not. But I suppose that if they don't make a new high and then they push lower, then we could start to see a real turn. But equity's looking a little sad. So in the treasury, I'm kind of wondering, are they going to buy it here? Okay, they did. But somebody was holding liquidity at 0.2 half. Like, can I sell it into right here? No, I don't know. I bet you I can get filled here at 0.2 half though. But just the fact that they're willing to hold the liquidity there at 0.2 half, I find a little interesting, to be honest. Not what I expected. Maybe some rebalancing there. But at the same time, there's market orders are hitting into 0.2 half. They were more than willing to take it and then bid it up. So I think that there could be some informed traders looking there, and we're at a pretty good spot on the downside here at 0.2 to buy it. So that's kind of what I'm looking at over there in the treasury. Of course, now the E-mini taking a little hop up there. Okay. There's all this liquidity. There's this big old honker at 0.1 we should be concerned about as well. Well, the liquidity providers are kind of keeping it equal, so. What else do we got to talk about? Let's read here, get some analysis to look at. Bum, 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 ba-dum. Okay. Interesting. Okay. And now I'm looking there at 0.3 and there's 5K on it. just really interesting to me how willing it seems to me. Actually, I should reset this, by the way. How willing it seems to me that the liquidity providers are to hold their orders in the Treasury complex. Now, we had a little bit of a rise there in the E-mini, but it settled back down, and they seem to think that this 25 area is fair. I was just reading something he was talking about. Our good friend Igor in Discord, he gives us analytics, and I'm not going to say everything that was in the report, but he was talking about Tesla possibly being a sell now because of certain levels. I'm interested to see. Yeah, let's open it up. Yeah, look at that. They did not, the buyers didn't necessarily hold it. Okay, so let's see. What are they doing in the pre-market? Wow, they're at 600 in the pre-market? Of course, that VIX is up off of that huge gamma melt up that we've had. What about some of these other ones? Oh, hey, Sumo Logic staged quite a comeback while I was not paying attention. Look at that. Now, isn't that a new high for that stock? You know what? We should zoom out a little bit on this chart. Can you show me 3 months? There you go. So I first started paying attention to it way back here, I think. Well, I mean, oh, that's when it opened up. Okay, so it's not a high for the stock. A high would be like 28, but so far it's going quite nicely. So that's good. Rare Earth Resources still kind of struggling. Apple, what's Apple doing? Well, Apple is still off of its most recent highs. I forget why we had PPL up, but it doesn't matter. Well, that's good. I'm happy about Sumo. I am in that one, so. I do kind of see the case here in Tesla. Just when looking at that, so that's like 5 minutes. Let's see if we can zoom out a little bit and show like the past month. Yeah. Okay. So, wow. From it to have gone to 500 to 600 is like wow. Wowie. Oh, look at that. They came back up and I didn't get filled at O2. So the way that they're skipping it around kind of makes it hard to get filled. Anyways, so I wonder what it is about that particular level and setup and everything that makes him think what he does about Tesla. Well, I don't think that I want to mess around with any kind of a sim short on Tesla, but let's just keep an eye on that one, all right? There could maybe be some, I kind of see some pain coming in. Actually, let's tweet about it. Okay, so we did catch that one. Oops. I need to... And Zero Head's looking at it too. Tesla gains 2.7% pre-market, currently above $600 level. That is a pre-stock adjusted price of $3,000. Can you believe that? That is so crazy. Let's see here. Nikola files to offer up 53.4 million shares of common stock. I don't think that's a good thing. These are the guys that said that they had a new, electric truck, and they showed it on the road, and then it turned out that it was actually just rolling down a hill, right? Like, what's IG Squawk going on about? We are selling to willing buyers at the current fair market price. Okay. That was all the way back in September. I wonder why they're retweeting that. They must be bearish today. Let's see here. Brannigan Barrett risk on until 35.25. Wait, what's he saying? A few weeks back, we outlined our logic for being long risk into year end. The past 2 weeks, we have seen an attempt in U.S. equities to close above the Pfizer vaccine highs. A close above 36.50 in the S&P 500 will be a very important catalyst for further momentum. And a subsequent, we have to go and click it and read the subsequent record highs. Until we close above this price point, the market positioning is somewhat vulnerable to a small correction. Technically, we have broken out of the August-November range, and so long as prices remain above 35.25, we expect a trend to evolve. In December month, the VIX, whilst historically elevated, is cheap year over year. As such, will provide ample opportunity to swap outright long positions with call options as we fill the COVID gap at 17. Okay. But then Brannigan Barrett says risk on until 35.25. Oh, so he's saying that he's still willing to buy it until we drop below 35.25, which is quite far away from here and not really a realistic play. Okay, so they are able to take O2 half bid now. Nobody hitting into O3 though. What's Liu Zhan Xiao saying? Not a collection of the World Guinness Records, but a few examples about innovation and transformation. Brick by brick, step by step, people's lives will be better. Talking about China's awesome bridges. Oh, I saw a most interesting TikTok. So there's this guy that I follow on TikTok that's from Australia, and he's I think I initially followed him because he was like a history buff, but it actually turns out that he is like a huge strategic community military watcher kind of guy. So like he's always answering questions like, okay, what if China decided to try and invade Australia? What would happen? Sort of a thing. He's really smart. And he pointed out an article to me. Oh, I wish I could remember his name. I have to go and look him up. But he's on TikTok. Maxwell, good morning, guys. Hey, thank you. And by the way, I'm like completely sold on TikTok at this point, and I've been making a couple of videos. I'm trying to keep them more on the fun side, but maybe we'll be doing some stuff with liquidity, trying to get the TikTokers to understand what the more serious trading is about, right? Anyways, he was pointing out an article to me. Well, not to me, but, he pointed out an article in his TikToks where they were pointing out that the Soviet Union, prior to the 60s, actually saw a lot of growth. And that the reason why they saw so much growth was because the government made a lot of really smart investments in infrastructure and things like that. And this is something that I see in history over and over again. Another really good example was the United States investments in infrastructure, like the New Deal. How the New Deal was carried out, maybe not the most efficient, but government spending money on infrastructure always tends to be good for the economy, as long as they make smart investments. So like after the 2008 crisis, they tried to do that, but a lot of that money kind of got floundered. It didn't get spent wisely. And so there's this issue that government spending can be extremely stimulative, but it still has to be spent correctly, efficiently. And what happened to the Soviet Union was that after the 60s, they stopped making those smart investments. Like they put tons and tons of money into all of these big mines in Siberia, I think it was. And those investments, they lost money on those mines and it never worked out. And he was trying to draw a parallel to China, pointing out that there's a lot of infrastructure projects going on in China, and some of them are maybe good infrastructure projects, but a lot of other ones, it's a little questionable if they'll actually be able to make money off of those infrastructures in the long run. And that, the time for Chinese growth to start leveling off is maybe coming soon. Meanwhile, I am seeing, just in this morning, reading my morning briefs and everything else, I continue to see a rotation in the world community, world leaders, away from China. It's like they all kind of played nice with China when it was Donald Trump pushing against them because they didn't want to help Donald Trump. But now that he's gone, they're all completely agreed that they need to pivot away from China and that China is a problem. And Europe in particular has started to say things along those lines. Australia is definitely on board. I do not get what is going on with Australia and China, because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, China is pushing all of these really aggressive measures against them and everything. It's like, what the heck? Okay, so we got a little bit of volume hitting us at L3. I see in the E-mini, by the way, good morning, Ace. I'm kind of thinking like if I want to take a trade in the E-mini, but I'm not sold on the uptrend right now, even though like my moving averages are up and everything. So I think that I'm going to wait. Okay, so that was a good fill. I'm really happy with how that all worked out in the treasuries. I think I read the liquidity there correct, and I'm trying to make an informed trade. So part of it was an informed trade, but I was able to play the liquidity for it. I'm happy about it. We'll see if we get more out of it though. Anyways, they continue. So I think that the most recent spat has been that China has put like duties and imports on Australian wine. There's like no rhyme or reason for any of it. It's just kind of out of nowhere. They have decided that it is now the strategic time to take on Australia as their largest economic competitor in the Pacific or something. I don't know. It's a little alarming, and so I'm glad that people are kind of turning that way. But that's going to be a complicated one to watch. This is where I was going at the beginning of the stream. There's so much to digest today. So there's that going on. Then on the European side, the Brexit negotiations are still going on. And I'm starting to sense a little bit more of we're not so sure that this is actually going to happen sort of stuff. Because they've been negotiating back and forth. Remember that when we left off last time, they were halting negotiations because somebody caught coronavirus or something. But they weren't really going anywhere on those. Like, they were having some progress on small things, but they couldn't seem to get any kind of movement on the big issues between the UK and the EU. And I'm starting to hear comments basically saying that the chance of a no-deal Brexit has not been priced in. That it's probably more likely than what current market prices say. Is that Evie on your left? Yes. Actually, it's not. There you go. Oh, you still can't see. I got Evie, and we got, I guess his name is Grogu. If you haven't watched The Mandalorian, spoilers alert, they reveal his name, and it is Grogu. Good Mandalorian episode, too, by the way. So good. I mean, I didn't think that Ashoka... Man, like, spoilers everywhere, but I think probably you already knew if you're watching this show that a character from the cartoon series appeared, Ashoka, and I wasn't like terribly wild about it, but it was pretty dope. Like, she was hardcore. She was like slicing huge things in half with her lightsaber and stuff. It was like, oh wow, like they're doing the real ass, the real stuff with this. It was great. Pierre Clot says, I thought Disney destroyed all the Star Wars stuff. I'm not a huge fan of the sequels. I thought that the first one of the three was I enjoyed it a lot. And there was a lot of things that was like, oh yeah. Like the things that I didn't like about the prequels, I felt like that they nailed with that. And it was good. But then the second one, they say that it was Disney, but I think a lot of it was just not having one director. If they had stayed with the one director and they really had like a well thought out plan and it stuck to their storyline and everything, then I think it would have been a lot better. But I digress. The Mandalorian is being run by a guy. He was kind of one of the main directors for like all of the cartoons, the 3D animated cartoons and stuff, and is well liked by the Star Wars diehards. And apparently he was actually kind of considered to be like George Lucas's apprentice in some ways. Like he was the one that George Lucas told all of the lore. Yeah, Dave Filoni told all of the lore stuff to, and he is absolutely playing those angles. So the direction that they're taking the Star Wars universe in now is kind of the direction that I think the Star Wars fans always wanted before the prequels came along. So like they're talking about Thrawn now has been name dropped in one of the episodes. They're all of this kind of stuff. So, and they're introducing the characters from the cartoons in The Mandalorian. So it's kind of cool. So yeah, Disney did take them pretty hard, but there is some optimism in the Star Wars community about how they're taking them right now. I liked how they began the Jedi episode right off with Ahsoka slashing bad guys, right? And it wasn't just like Ahsoka slashing bad guys. It was like, guys, watch out. This chick is badass. Like there was some cool stuff. Anyways, It is an EV over there. My kids went to Build-A-Bear because you could get Pokemon Build-A-Bear, but they were out of Snorlaxes, and they decided to buy me a Jolteon, even though I didn't really care. But I'm trying to own it. So Jolteon is now like our mascot, I say. Because he's fast. He's fast. Anyways, what was I saying before our little segue to Star Wars? Oh yeah, Brexit maybe not quite priced in. Okay, now here's another headline that's going on there. Oh, look at that move up in the E-mini. Fed under the rule proposed by the international body, most existing LIBOR contracts will be allowed to expire between now and the end of June. Fed and other agencies after December 31st, 2021 will consider new LIBOR contracts to pose safety and soundness risks in an effort to discourage use. Is that what the market is moving off of? Because I'm not sure that that's a positive for the market right there. They definitely went all risk on with that. Lucas, how far into December are you planning to stream? That's a good question, actually. So we will trade probably until Christmas. So I guess probably until the 23rd, if not the 24th. And then that week between then, like the 28th through the 1st, I won't stream that time. I will wake up and use that time to make some videos, hopefully. Hopefully that goes better than this past weekend did. Like, I was hoping to do a lot of stuff this past weekend because I took it off for the nose. And we got one video out of it. I wanted to make 3. I spent a lot of time back testing. But then the video that's releasing here in 30 minutes, I had to record it 3 times. So I recorded it once. And when I watched the video, the microphone was too high and it was covering my face and it was too loud and it just didn't work very well. So I went and re-recorded it. And when I re-recorded it, I guess I hadn't been paying attention to my data, because usually what I'll do is I'll build a lot of videos on my one drive and then move it over to a different drive. So I ran out of space when I was recording for the audio, and I had to redo it. So I re-recorded it 3 times, and it's a long video too, right? Each time it was like 90 minutes to record it. I edited it down. I tried to consolidate it a fair amount, but it's still a 30-minute video. And it is a video about expectancy and performance metrics. So a video that I hope a lot of you regulars are already familiar with, but that there should be a lot of tiny little details here and there that will make you go, oh, yeah, I never thought about it that way. And yeah, that's a good way to think about it, and hope that it will be useful to a lot of you. But mostly I'm making this video because it drives me crazy that people on Reddit don't understand like what different types of systems will look like and what the advantages and disadvantages of them are and stuff. Anyways, other thing I want to talk about. Anyways, oh yeah, I thought you were asking like what your positioning was right now. I'm thinking right now, I've been thinking we're going to see end of month flows. The E-mini is trying to push up. I think that maybe they did it because of this whole LIBOR stuff. Stop using LIBOR and substitute other reference rates as soon as practicable. Federal Reserve welcomes and supports the release of proposal and supervisory statements that would enable a clear end date for the US dollar LIBOR and would promote the safety and soundness of the financial system. Is that affecting the euro at all? It's not. So that whole move is really interesting. I don't know what the deal is with that, and I'm not quite sure if that's why the market is moving up. I do see my treasuries are still kind of seem to be a little bid, so I think we're okay. I'm thinking that we're gonna see, generally you tend to see buying in the treasuries going into the month end and around the contract expiration. So the contract switching over is a big deal today, right? Oh, Ace went long 36.30. Yeah. Well, back when I was like, oh, I'm not so sure about the long here, we could have taken that one, huh? Could have been long at like 36.25, but yeah, meh. The marketeer says selling gold to buy bitcoins. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, other piece of news that's going on. Did you guys hear about this assassination of the Iranian nuclear scientist? Whoa. If you haven't read about this story, like about what actually happened, because I'm sure you probably have seen the headline. But when I read the headline, I thought that it was just like, oh, okay, so what did they do? Did they poison his coffee or, hit him with a little pin and, kill him kind of covertly, like the Russians always are doing with things. And, how did that go down? Oh, no. This was like he was in a 3-car caravan and Mossad stopped the caravan and had a firefight and took him down. And it involved 60 operatives. Like, wow. Armed convoy, a 3-car armed convoy. And they just took it out. I kind of wonder now. Like those Mossad guys, I have to say I'm a pretty big supporter of Israel. I don't think that Joe Biden is necessarily an enemy to Israel, but I am a little concerned about support there going forward because, like, Israel is not going to let Iran get nuclear weapons. Like, under no circumstances is that going to be allowed to happen. And if that hasn't been made clear by now, like, there should be no doubts about it. They're going to do every little, spy stuff that they can to stop that from happening. Uzi says that's legit spy movie shit, right? And I tell you what, man, you don't want to mess with Mossad. Those guys, that is scary shit. You want to watch a good, you're into spy stuff. There is a documentary series on Netflix about Mossad. And they talk about some of the things that happened. One of the things that happened that they did was they used to have like a scuba diving resort that they were using to smuggle people out of a country, to smuggle refugees out of a country into Israel. And one of the instructors used the wrong diver hand signals. And one of the divers was like a big diver enthusiast, and correctly recognized that he was using the Israeli armed forces diver signals. So he asked them, he's like, wait, are you guys like, and like they were caught. So that guy was disappeared. They killed him. And there's like a bunch of stories like that in that series. Oh, it's the real deal. They're scary. It's scary. But I'm a huge supporter of Israel, and I hope that everything goes well over there. But man, I would think if you're like the Secret Service or any other kind of security organization, you have got to be reading that and like shaking your boots. Like, who can they not kill at this point? Who, if Mossad wants you dead, you're gonna die. That's what it seems like to me. Like, that's crazy. Like, 3-car armed convoy, and they just take it out. Holy crap. Lucas says there's a movie about that. Really? Oh, what is the name of the movie? I want to watch that now. I don't know, man. It's like, I find it so incredibly interesting, but at the same time, it's so scary. Gotta be careful. I don't want to make him upset or anything. No, I could totally get the kind of position that would be in. Like, lots of lives were on the line with that one, and they couldn't risk the security measure. It's like, I understand, but oh man, it's scary. It's scary. Okay, so now that we have busted the regular session high here in the treasuries, and we're turning into a slightly bullish posture, although we haven't crossed the divide in the 30 here. Oh, look at that. He's holding some liquidity at 04 too. Now that one's a little different. Normally we would expect to see around, well, maybe not around this area per se, but yeah, after a move like that, you would expect to see some market makers rebalancing and trying to get themselves on the correct side, right? But that was more than that. Do you see there was like some clicking and everything? Some of that liquidity that was moving around was quite a bit below, though. And look at the amount that is on now. When we started, it was like 3K, and now it is like 6-7K on each side. I'm thinking, even though I really want to mess with the E-mini today, clearly the action is in the treasury right now. And I think that we've got a good trade. I should focus over here. So I'm going to continue watching the 10-year here. Oh, it's called the Red Sea Diving Resort. Really? Oh, man. Anyways, I think I know that it's just kind of like, you know, just an interesting story, and it doesn't seem like it has a whole lot of applicability to markets, but I would keep an eye on that because at some point it is going to matter to us. And if you're paying attention and watching, I think that there could be some advantage to it for you. So need to adjust this column here a little bit so that we can see that it was a 10K. What do you think about Yellen as future chairman? Okay, well, I really liked Yellen. I think that Yellen's own personal beliefs about certain political things are probably not what people think. Oh, that was an after she goes absorption new high break. I haven't seen that in a long time. That's like one of my favorite trades, and it haven't seen a really good example of it working out in a long time. So I'm happy. Yeah. Anyways, one of the things that somebody was pointing out to me about Janet Yellen was that Janet actually slowed the purchase of securities a lot more than some people would have wanted. But I think that, you know, she read the markets correctly and was generally dovish and did a good job. But to the point of her being Treasury Secretary, there was a lot of hubbub about it, and all of these people saying, "Oh, this is really good for markets and everything." And I'm kind of wondering here, like, okay, but like, what is she realistically going to do that somebody else wouldn't have? Like, that's great that she's a smart person and that you have somebody, and I bet you that she probably is a little bit more capable than Secretary Mnuchin. But at the same time, I wonder, what is she going to do policy-wise that Mnuchin wouldn't, you know, if Donald Trump had been in office? And I just don't see what it is. So I'm not sure that it really has a directly, like, you know, maybe there's something about her that I don't know, though. And that's why I keep asking the question to everybody, like, what is it that you think she's going to do that somebody else wouldn't? I haven't heard it yet. So maybe there's a little bit too much hype in that one. I don't know. Okay, yeah. So do you see the buyers there just at 05 just scrambling to catch it? Should we reset our DOM up here now? Okay, yeah. So I think that I need to get some more. Well, let's clear these levels and try and get stuff from overnight. Okay, so we're not even over the overnight high. Okay, so now Fed says, okay, so that was some robots there in the E-mini. That the Fed is saying stuff. I'm going to wait until it hits Twitter to say anything. Okay, liquidity facilities are continuing to support market functioning and enhancing credit. Germany, okay. And then Germany's Chancellor Merkel, in the coming years, we will have to find a trade-off between our values and our interests in dealing with China. Yeah. Who's like, there was my 2+, just take it. Just take it. I don't know what's going on. So, in fact, well, so here in the Treasury, I think I'm probably okay, although at 06, above 06 is kind of where I have to think about taking it off. But since we don't really understand what's going on and why the E-mini is reacting so strongly to this, that is just like a take the profits and then wait until we figure out what's going on, right? My reason for trading over in the Treasury has much more to do with seasonal money flows. We're extending liquidity facilities for commercial paper, money markets, primary dealers, and paycheck protection program through March 31st. Okay, so that is bullish for equities. The extension of these programs was approved by the U.S. Treasury and will help market planning through the first quarter of 2021 to aid recovery from the pandemic. So why this interesting timing too. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm still getting a lot of clicks in the Treasury, by the way. You gonna try the short? I don't know. So here's the thing: is that the Treasury, or sorry, the Federal Reserve may not be done talking here. Yeah, I guess if you're using house money, it's okay, but I'm going to sit on my hands here. Well, I mean, we could have done like that. Probably should be sitting out there. Just because we kind of run out of contracts to shove around at 06. Though I would say note, well, we might cancel that, but we should note that there's been a lot of market buying coming in and a lot of buy liquidity holding and an overall uptrend in the treasuries. And these moves from the Federal Reserve kind of, they back off, but then they continue through, because I think that the move in the Treasury is more a play on end of month money flows more than anything. There you go. So they're not willing to hit 05, huh? Or 05 half, rather. Man, well, they did turn back around quite hard in the mini, didn't they? Oh, look at that. When that happens, I get clicks. 04. Okay. Wow, what? Nobody really... Okay, so I think that I might have made a mistake there getting out at 05 half. But given that 8 ticks, although I did it with 2 contracts, so I don't know, it's kind of cheating, but 8 ticks is about what I tend to get in a Treasury trade. So it was between that and the fact that I have like a key level at 06 half that could be hard to get through. That's why I'm taking it off. But me getting hit so easily and the liquidity at 05 half not holding kind of suggests to me that the Treasury is just going to keep going. Izzy, is it just me or did everything just thicken up real well? Well, I mean, yeah, look at how crazy it is. Okay, there's a clear 05 half. Oh, one of the live squawk guys is too loud. Okay. So anyways, so I made a little bit, well, I didn't misread because I didn't make that decision based on liquidity. I made that decision kind of based on concerns about there being a lot of news volatility and hitting a profit target and hitting it a key level in my model. But let's see how much they trade at 06, because it could be a case where, 06 was where I should be taking it off instead of 05 half. If they trade through 06 without a whole lot of liquidity, then I'm really like, whoa, hold up, Okay, so they trade it down at 05 half. Maybe it's actually going to become that they're going to have to come to an agreement. I don't think everybody has, this model, and so they might not realize it yet. By the way, here's the thing that I find interesting, Uzi. What do you make of this? 30-year barely moved. Relatively speaking. I mean, it moved up tick for tick with the 10-year, but just tick for tick, and it usually goes like twice as far, There's some, I guess, some steepening going on there. It's pretty unusual for the 30-year to behave that way, isn't it? Because the 30-year only just came up to like buyer's cost basis, whereas the 5-year and the 10-year are both at like seller break-even points. Yeah, Uzi says it appears so. Yeah, so that I think is something we kind of got to figure out. Yeah, okay. A lot of volume going through at 05 half, in fact. So I think that exit wasn't too bad, actually. Uzi, it just thickened up so quick, like popping 500-600 at every level, turned away to talk to the wife about Christmas shopping for 10 seconds, and everything went peanut butter. Right? Well, the thing that is weird to me, and I'm going to have to go back and rewatch the video, because I remember getting down here in like the 0202 half area, and it being like 3,000 contracts at every level. And then, it actually trying to go against me and going, okay, well, like if it comes back up, I'll just buy another one and then take it off at +2 and move my cost basis down, and it should be fine. And it looks like the spread is right here, so I think we're okay. And then I took my profit, and then all of a sudden I'm looking at it and I'm like, wait a second, it's like 6K at every spot now. So yeah, it really did like thicken up like hard. I'm kind of wondering what they're doing here. But I suppose that there's probably, I think the reason I took the trade, I didn't really go into it with a whole lot of detail when I took it, but now that it's after the fact, I was trying to make an informed trade. We know that treasuries tend to move up going into the month end. We know that there tends to be more activity in the treasuries at the beginning of a new contract. And we also know that there's been a lot of news lately about a possible end of month rebalancing, and that there's a lot of money that has to come out of equities and move over into bonds because of risk parity funds and so forth. Or at least the estimate was that it was like record high amounts. We saw almost none of that behavior we saw almost none of that behavior from what I could see, even though I wasn't watching it all directly. But going into the Thanksgiving holiday and Black Friday and everything, saw almost none of that activity. So I was looking today to see that maybe it would happen, and I was thinking, well, I don't know if it'll happen in the equities, but I think that the treasuries are probably going to have to do it. And then, especially when I came in and I noticed that rollover gap that we had created and everything, I'm thinking, and then again, the liquidity has to confirm it, right? So I saw, we were towards the bottom end of the range, like we were just at that stop out zone at 138.02, and they had started kind of flipping around. So I said, okay, yeah, they made it back to the middle and then came back down. I think that they're going to hold that level and reverse, because these guys are going to have to buy. And I mean, that was a pretty big speculation on my part, but I made the right call. We got it right, and clearly there was something going there, because not only did we have like a ton of liquidity come in and as we were moving up, but there was some pretty aggressive market orders coming in. Like that was like informed traders coming in and going, oh crap, it's moving up, we better buy it now before it gets away from us. So that was a trade, probably the best trade that I've made in treasuries in like a year. It's like, I've been on so awful in the treasuries lately, but today we caught a good one. So freaking look down at my phone and everything changes. It's my fault. I broke everything. I know. That 30-year treasury, it's not the thing anymore, and it's all Uzi's fault. You really got to wonder about that one. Now, I'm wondering also, because there was all this news and stuff. Okay, U.S. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin approves extension of 4 emergency lending facilities, says source. Those programs include commercial paper, money market, mutual fund liquidity, term sheet for primary dealer credit, paycheck protection program liquidity. Okay. So that's kind of a different story from before when we were talking about that he pulled some money. Look at this fingernails. Like, you ever get that issue where it's like the, whatever they call it, the skin part that goes over your fingernail kind of gets like, goes too far forward, and then when you push it back, it just kind of leaves this line. And the ace's short actually ended up working out. I still don't like that trade. I'm still like really worried about what's going on over here in the equities. Especially since it's like they're moving up off of this LIBOR stuff, but then when it turned into, okay, and we're increasing these liquidity programs and everything, and or we're extending them, and they're pulling back now, is like, what? Also, remember here on the open in the E-mini, I guess now that we're out of that, maybe we could try an E-mini trade. But we got the open here in 30 seconds. I would expect that there will be a decent amount of movement here, because a lot of stocks are going to be moving off of repricing after the long weekend and everything. But at the same time, there will be some subdued movement because Chicago PMI at 9:45, and remember, this is the one that releases to subscriber 3 minutes early. So 12 minutes basically, and then we get some news, fairly significant news, and then we got like pending home sales and the top of the hour in Dallas Fed after that. I don't know if Dallas Fed tends not to be a huge one, but latest CPI figures are weak, but growth expectations are strong. Maybe too much. Are you trading spreads at the moment, or was it in ZF? I traded it. Which news feed are you using? Is it the Journalytics? No, I use, well, both. So I use the Journalytics one, and I have Financial Juice, and I've got Twitter. I've got TweetDeck up. It's really interesting. I got to tell you that between those three of them, there's like let's just take for instance economic numbers. Which one goes first? I'd say that my squawk tends to be first. But I've had situations where I saw it on Twitter first, and I've had situations where I saw it on the Journalytics one first. So I have to say that the Journalytics newsfeed was a good ad. Ace Trade says, wait till Mossad hears that you are using Financial Juice. Stop. Oh man, it's I don't know if I'm being like too cautious here, but I got to tell you what, there's some stuff going on with let's just say like Israel and Jews worldwide overall that concerns me. Like I see a lot of anti-Semitism out there on the left that really concerns me, because I have a real fondness for Jewish people. When I worked for Goldman Sachs, because there's a lot of Jewish people at Goldman Sachs, okay, right? And they were the nicest ones to me. A lot of my good friends were all Jewish, and I really liked those guys a lot. Lucas says, "Oh, you pay for Financial Juice? I've noticed they've begun offering the paid service. The free service began to suck a lot." The guy stutters. Oh, really? Does it stutters? I didn't know that. I thought that they added it. They added the delay, and I don't know how much they delayed it. But when Financial Juice came out with a lifetime membership offer, actually, let's go and look. Do they still have it? Because they did it yesterday too, but it might not be available again. Let's check. You might still be able to do it. There's a lifetime membership. So here's the link for the lifetime membership. So it's that when I did it, it was $700. Now it's $800. So $800, and you get a lifetime membership. And I do enjoy it. I don't have any stuttering or everything. I'm not going to say that it's as good as like say Ransquawk. I really like Ransquawk too, by the way. In case you're listening, Ransquawk, I really like you guys, and if you want to pass a little affiliate link or courtesy news squawk subscription, I'd be all over. No, I'm just kidding. They're not as good as Ransquawk, but for $70 a month, it's great. And I'm going to be making a video soon. I'm working on getting an affiliate link with Financial Juice. They have a program, but the guy hasn't gotten back to me yet. But because I believe very strongly that you need to utilize news in your trading. That I try and make my calls primarily off of news and my understanding of the markets. But even if you're going to be primarily a technical trader, I think that you still need to be aware of what kind of news is going on and adjust for it accordingly. And know what news is when certain moves happen and whether or not it's likely to continue or not. It's going short again, Ace, huh? I think I'm still going to wait until the PMI. I hope it's not like the other day where I wait for the big number to be through and try and get an opportunity off the big number. And then it was like all of the moves happened before that and it was done. And then nothing else happened. Lucas says, I grew very fond of news lately. Yeah. Well, and we've had a lot of markets lately where news has mattered a lot, haven't we? I have to say, especially like one of my better periods, like that August, September time period, there's a lot of news. When it got into the election, it started to get harder. I've noticed that when the news is political, it's harder to trade it. And I think that may be because it's hard for even these big guys on Wall Street to really predict and account for it and completely understand what's going on. Because their specialty isn't politics. Of course, that can present opportunities for you, but there wasn't too many of those. I was coming in today and I was thinking, there's a lot. Like I read the News Squawk morning brief every morning that you can read for free before I get on stream. And when I was reading through all of the stories that they were mentioning in there, it was so overwhelming. There was so much going on. But I was kind of expecting that we would have some good news trades today, and I wasn't disappointed. So anyways, there's the link for you there. $800 to get a Financial Juice Pro subscription for life. I think it's worth it because that's a $70 a month subscription, and you're getting it for forever. And they take it. Oh, wow. How did you get that really took a dump there, didn't it? Well, I got to tell you what, Ace, you're like just in like the perfect situation where the way that this E-mini is moving today is just perfect for your strategy. You think it was Uzi? I hooked him up. Well, it's really impressive the way that you were able to flip back down short off of that. See, for me, I kind of feel like I need to have a little bit of an understanding of what's going on. And at the moment, I'm a little unsure about why it's moving the way that it is. It's quite some big fluctuations. And I guess we should expect that it's a Monday and everything, that we should see some swings both ways. So that's why I'm kind of like, let's wait until the not pending home sales, but Chicago PMI before we decide that it's going to go a certain direction. You don't make money on 100% of the trades you don't take. Yeah, you don't lose money on 100% of the trades you don't take either. That push down in ZB was almost entirely pulling. Yeah, right? Oh, on all of them, frankly. They are totally jerking with the liquidity. I tell you what, the more I get into it, and I think that maybe I'm starting to think this way a little bit because of this Markets Under the Microscope book that I've been reading. But the big paradigm shift that I have had is this. And this is like, I think if I was to go back and try and tell young me 3 years ago, young 32-year-old Seth, a piece of advice that would have helped me read the level 2 better, it would have been this. There is a dynamic struggle between market makers and informed traders. The market maker doesn't want to trade against an informed trader because the market maker wants to trade with limit orders. And if they're trading against an informed trader, they're going to get filled, and then the informed trader is going to continue buying and push it through him. And so when I see that the market maker is willing or unwilling to hold liquidity at a certain level, that is the most significant thing for me. So seeing it tick down without any resistance at all says to me, okay, market maker is like increasing his spread, basically. They increased their spread down to probably 03, half 03 in the 10-year, probably 2024 seems okay in the 30-year, although they went all the way down to 20, which is like bullshit. I totally feel your frustration, Uzi. Okay, Lucas, good question. What is an informed trader, though? Like inside information? So the definition of an informed trader is really broad. I think. So an informed trader could be somebody that has a back-tested technical signal that suggests that price is going to move up in the short term. It could be somebody that knows that seasonally there tends to be more buying in treasuries at the end of the month, right? But the gist of it is that the informed trader knows something that makes them believe that price is going to move up. Now, that's where kind of like it's like a vague definition, and there's kind of like some issues with that, because some informed trades aren't really all that informed. You know what I mean? But that's kind of the battle, is that the market maker, you as a market maker, you don't want to be ignorant that just because you're the market maker. I think that there's a big mistake that we've made in the retail world. We tell people all you have to do is look at the technicals and you can just trade off of that. And we've said, oh, you should just be ignorant to news. But what I see suggests to me that those guys are not ignorant of the news. They know what's going on, and they adjust their liquidity accordingly. Market maker just reacts to that movement. Yeah, exactly. And so if the market maker sees some informed trading coming through, then they tend to pull their liquidity out so that they don't end up trading against the informed trader. Or even better, they rebalance themselves to position themselves the other way. And that's what we saw there when we busted like 04 half, 05. There was some rebalancing, and then I think that the informed traders that were pushing it up used that to spike it up to 06, and that's how we got the after she goes setup that we did. That was so nice. Have you ever read the book More Money Than God? No, I have not. But the market maker wants to be as informed as possible too. So that's the key thing is look at it. Where are they holding the liquidity and not? And why is that? And if they're unwilling to hold liquidity in a certain area, why? There's probably a reason for that. It might be automated. It might be because they are increasing their spread and they need to take profits or something, you know? Like, that's probably a really good example of on this downside, where it's like, if you are a market maker that went short off of this move up to 05 half 05, right? That's kind of dangerous, you know, like it's moving against you. So if you're going to take them off, you would hope to get more than just one tick. So I think that might have been why the buy side, the guys that were short and were taking exits, they probably pulled their bids down so that the spread worked out better, more in their favor to account for the amount of risk that they had to take on buying all that. I trade market maker, but not with size. I think market maker, the way I know it, they don't want to compromise, so they don't move price. They need to be in and out. Yeah, well, I think that you want to be, because the risk for the market maker is you have a crazy huge move against you that goes way further and fills all of these orders and puts you, long or short a bunch of orders when it's a move in the other way. That's the big risk for the market maker. And the only thing that the market maker can really do to account for that is adjust their spread. Okay, 58.2 is the Chicago PMI. Which is a little bit less than the estimated 59. Again, note that this comes out 3 minutes early. We saw some buying going into that, and then since then it's sold. So we could maybe justify a short here now. Oil's been moving pretty strongly too, by the way. And the dollar just still kind of sad. Oh, really? It's a great book. It goes over the history of hedge funds and how, over the course of time, big Wall Street players have gone back and forth between using technical analysis and economic news to market trade. Yeah. Well, now you've caught my interest. Now you've caught my interest, my friend. More money than God. Lucas, yeah, but then the market maker judged the value in the wrong way if market moved too much against him. I think what you called informed traders could be better defined as value. Well, I think that as a market maker, you need to have some form of determining what is fair value, and you want to be trading it towards that fair value. Sure. But to me, informed traders would be like what we saw in the E-mini here. Robots that read the Twitter tweet about the moves the Federal Reserve was making and bought because of that. Yeah, let's see here. It's on Amazon. Oh, wait, how come it's giving it to me for free on Kindle? Huh. I'm going to have to try logging out into my other account. And where's my phone? Lucas says, oh, as an informed trader, you mean being aware of news, right? Market maker also pays attention to news. Right. Well, it could be any number of things, Lucas, right? But the gist of it is a person, an informed trader is a person that has a piece of information that leads them to believe that markets are going to move in a certain direction. So an informed trader could potentially be trading off of a technical signal. They could potentially be trading off of news. An informed trader might not be as informed as they actually think they are, but if they're big enough or there's enough of them, it doesn't really matter, does it? He says, I remember back when there were bookstores. There's still Barnes & Noble, right? Haven't been there in a while, but it's still there. Oh. So I can read it for free with my Amazon Prime membership. That's what that is. But I don't know how to do that. I thought they all closed. No, I'm pretty sure that there's still one over by me. Maybe it's not. Well, since that news, it has been short, and I said, well, we could potentially short it, and I guess you would have gotten your 2 points out of it, but the way the tape is behaving now is a little bit like, And I'm also thinking like the treasuries seem to be like they widen their spread, but I see it kind of tightening. You're at 9 points now in your short? Yeah, good job. I'm kind of I haven't seen like a perfect opportunity for me to really get in here. The market maker guy doesn't want to trade where those whales trade because of risk. They want to trade in the direction of the market and towards the value. Yeah, exactly. He wants to trade against noise, right? He wants to trade in the area where like there's no real reason for it to move and people just happen to have to need to buy there and there's no reason for it to move, and he wants to get filled and then it come back the other way, and he's catching an order, he's catching fills that people probably shouldn't have bought. Ergo, if somebody is informed and is trading through them, they don't want to trade against that person. And so when they see indications that that's what's happening, they pull their liquidity. Or vice versa, if we have had a move, they're going to make their spread larger. And that's what we saw. There was some informed trading on the move up. And because of that, market makers that had buy orders out there increased their spread, and that's what created the liquidity vacuum that allowed it to come back down so hard. This is also, another really great example, by the way, of this principle that I keep coming back to. First trade is usually the best trade, right? You cut that trade, and then what? You get this liquidity vacuum, and even if you get filled anywhere in here, it always seems to go further than I think it's going to, When they see indication of that happening, size and value is changing, and if they find the wrong side of the market, they are wrong, and they should take the L. Yes, exactly. Hence, you get up to the high, and you'll see buys, because those are guys that are short, trying to buy out of their positions. Gonna have to add my phone to their plan or something to be able to read it for free. We have an Amazon account, but it's not like the account that's tied to Amazon Kindle on my phone. Okay, so there was a decent pullback. This, I think, is kind of where we start to get the moment of truth, don't you think? If as to whether or not today is really going to be a sell day, or if they're going to dig it out of the hole. And I got to think back, like, how many times have we gotten to this point in the market and then they just dig it out? It's happened so many times recently. Okay, well, their buyers are pushing it up a little bit more than would be expected, so in fact, it looks like they're about to get above the price from let's clear that. Get above the price from the Chicago PMI. That's close. It goes over how a lot of famous investors came up on Wall Street. Right now, it's going over George Soros. I have to figure this out after. Just make sure that I don't forget. Or maybe I should just buy it on paperback. I don't know. I guess it's probably not something that I read right now because I've got other stuff I'm reading right now. This book that I'm reading about markets under the microscope is not light reading. Okay, so they shied away from it just a little bit. So do you see that? It's so much easier to read it in the 10-year, but I think I kind of see it happening a little bit in the E-mini too, where they kind of see where that last pivot was, and a lot of people are taking their profits up in here. The longs from down here taking profits up here. Well, where are we at positioning wise? Oh, that's interesting. So if they get through here and then through the open, then that really puts them net long. Quite easily puts them net long. Well, I'm reading, it's called something markets, financial markets under the microscope. It's basically a book about market microstructure, and it's going into detail, math intensive proofs about how the queue and liquidity should behave under certain circumstances. Going through basically creating like a model for a queue. They go in and they say, okay, so here's how you mathematically model a queue. You know, it has so many orders, and with a random stochastic process puts orders on, and a random stochastic process takes orders off, and generally speaking, that should lead it to move to an equilibrium point. But the larger it is, like the more orders will actually be available to cancel. So that might actually, so that kind of holds it back and things like that. And then it's just slowly going piece by piece and creating a more complicated model. And I think that the end goal with this is to develop something that basically would tell your, a machine essentially where it should put its best bid and offer at. Right? That's basically the gist of it. So that's where I got that from, is because their whole thing is I want to make money off of the spread and avoid informed traders. So I'm not going to say that I found that one thing and I found it useful. I have to say that there is a lot of complicated stuff in it that I feel like is like way over my head, because they'll talk about a certain type of mathematical process that I don't know anything about. But I'm just like plowing through it, trying to understand the gist of things, and then I'll go back and I'll try and make sure that I understand every piece of math, how they're getting what they are and what each piece means and stuff. I want to understand it as well as I understand equations for expectancy, which is what we put in today's video. By the way, let's go and grab that video. I don't know if this is a video that you'd want to start right now. I know a lot of them I've been like, just watch it and put it in another tab. But this one is like a 30-minute video. So okay, so here comes the more news. Man, they're selling into that? Really? Oh, pending home sales is not good. Okay, a little bit of rebalancing here. Okay, well, I'm just going to take the quick one on that. That might be premature, but I was expecting that to be a lot faster. You're saying Tesla had some warning pressure, but it's still inside? Let's see. Yeah. Well, no. They're kind of down. I mean, they're inside of yesterday's, but they were well off of the overnight highs. 587 now instead of over 600. So, yeah, see. I wanted to get some trend just coming straight down, and you can see they're kind of, I mean, it might happen, but they're spending too much time here. Maybe if I caught that. Oh, here it is. So here's the video. So go watch the video after the stream today. Here to show you a little bit of it. See, look, I got this beautiful blackboard. It's so great. You're saying Bitcoin is where all the excitement is? Maxwell says you reached your, hey, good job. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like I was a little bit too chicken on that E-mini trade, man. Like, but it just was not going the way that it was supposed to. Okay. Interesting. So there was a little bit of a rush of volume there, but the market makers took the hit on that one. Not really seeing the cumulative delta turn, so. Look at that. Could maybe take it there at 23, but. Does anyone know if it's possible to just get live data for ES on Sierra without needing an account with a broker? I don't know about that one. They've made it pretty difficult to get that data otherwise now. So, yeah. What I would do is I would just get a small account with a broker, like the minimum account that they'll let you have, and then you pay for the data that way. That's the best way to do it, really. They say Bitcoin trades all time. Oh yeah, it did. It went. Yeah, and they did bust through 2000. I want to trade SPX but use Sierra for charting. Well, I would expect that with Bitcoin, they want a new all-time high. They want a retail rush, right? This whole thing is to convince people to go long Bitcoin above 20K and to push it up as far as they can and then take profits before the end of the year, right? Okay, well, now I'm kind of reading it a little bit differently. Instead of seeing like a rush down to the lows, and that could still happen, but I'm actually thinking that they might just come back and try and cross from here to here again. Looks like I'm too late. You say we're not going down even if Tesla crashes. Well, that's where I say, like, there's definitely some money flows moving here, right? So far, though, it doesn't look like that's leading to like a strong, how do I say, a crazy strong trend. There is some rebalancing flows, but it's not leading to a crazy trend. We started to get some of that in the E-mini or in the treasuries, and then they reached up to a spot and just kind of petered out. Maybe there will be a further move up later in the day. Okay, well, that one's a no. Okay, maybe they are going to do it. Oh, you know what? I need to do, there we go. That would have been better. Okay. Some volume trading there. They gonna make it? When I think about Bitcoin, I kind of get a little bit torn, because on one hand, I'm like, well, we could make today all about the Bitcoin move, and I bet you we would get tons of viewers over it. But then I'm like, I don't know, do we really want all those viewers? But then I think back and I'm like, yeah, but we've gotten a lot of really good viewers from the Bitcoin side, so I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too picky here in the E-mini, but it's just not doing what I want it to. That's a little better. But you can see almost 1,000 at 36.21. Wow. The seller is actually quite aggressive. Well, both sides are really quite aggressive, but the seller in particular. Nope. Okay. This the volume here in the evening, especially this last bar, has been quite something else. They are really battling it out there, and a buyer. So like a seller kind of pushed it, and then he let off, and it came way back up, and now look, here they are coming again. Shit. All right. I don't know what it wants to do. To be honest, I'm having a hard time. Maybe this is just the jostling around, and we'll catch one and it'll work out. But at the moment, I'm a little frustrated with the E-mini. Okay, so there was a break of the lows. A lot of volume coming through there now. Now the overnight lows are much lower, like 16 area. Christine Lagarde thanking Janet Yellen on her nomination, or congratulating her, Janet Yellen, on her nomination as U.S. Treasury Secretary. Whoa, look at them bids in the 10-year. Octavius, I'm just like not even paying attention. Now there's 10Ks at 3 levels? What? Maybe we could try buying it here again. Well, if the shorts really decide to continue pushing it, I can see quite a bit of downside potential in it still. You love the way they pre-pumped Nikola before dropping it? Really? Did they really buy it up off of that? I did not even think about that. I saw the news come through on the Squawk, and I was like, well, do you guys remember that? I said, oh, they're going to be offering shares. And I'm like, well, I don't think that's a good thing. And I kind of laughed about it. And then that was it. But it went like, huh? That's funny that they pumped it first and then dropped it. There's got to be so many, Robinhood traders that saw that and it's up, buy, and then better. And you're right. Where's I keep opening the wrong one. Tesla has gotten down to almost 580 now at one point. Robinhood keeping the markets liquid since 2020. Do you think that there's going to be a fundamental change in the markets over the next few years due to all of the options volume that's come in from like Robinhood and the like? Because I'm starting to think that, hey, a lot of the market making option strategies are probably having at some point they're going to have some difficulty, right? I think there's fundamental changes to the market concept. Well, that's true, but I'm speaking specifically to the gamma melt up sort of stuff that we've had so much of lately. Okay, so the E-mini did a little bit of a bounce there and then another new low. Not a ton of stops on that one yet. I think that they still got pain to go. Or know enough to say. Yeah, I mean, neither do I, because I don't know very much about market making options. Other than that they have to hedge it, and that often means buying the stock. You're still short after all that, huh? I'm surprised that when we came up to like 36.27, you didn't get out? Or was that you had already been out and you got short since then? Oh, I see. I put my stop one tick below entry. Almost got out, but it's all house money, so I'm letting it right. I get you. You made more than your 2 ticks, and so... Well, I have one contract out at 36.15, which is a key level, but the model says that if they're going to stop out the longs, that they have quite a bit further to go. Oh, do they have pictures of it now? Oh, wait, is that... we didn't talk about this. Did you guys hear that Biden like broke his foot? He got like he was playing with his dog and he got like a hairline fracture on his foot. You got to be careful with those at that age. It's when you can't walk around is when the health starts to go downhill, you know? So I got this picture reposted from the Donald.Win Twitter account showing a picture of somebody with like hardware in their ankle. And I'm like, wait, is that really, or are they just messing? They might be just messing around. They're calling it the Great Reset, having to reset his foot. That tells nice to have a president that tells us the truth about his health. But that's the thing is that they didn't say anything. In fact, when they took him into the hospital, they did everything they could to make it so that nobody knew or could see it, but the media found out anyways. You know what? If you're looking for transparency from the Biden administration, I got a bridge to sell you. It's a very nice bridge. All still construction. What else? Built fairly recently, yeah. And it can be yours for $100 million. The truth about his health is he's senile. Do you believe that? Biden won't answer. I do kind of question. I don't think that he's like senile per se, but I do think that he's never been very good at talking to the media, and he's probably a little slower now in his old age. And that certainly looks bad. And the thing that I've noticed about Democrats, especially lately, is that they're just like almost all about optics, man. They have really bought into the optics is everything kind of theory of politics. And so, yeah, if he broke his foot, for instance, they're going to do everything that they can to not talk about it and make sure that it's not a big story in the media. And if it becomes a big story, then they'll come out and do the big press conference where they answer every question about it and make it the most boring thing in the world. Right? Biden won't answer a question unless it is pre-approved. Is that what we want as the president's not allowed to say anything unless it's pre-approved? I bet some people would like it to be that way. Oh, you saw him recently talking gibberish, but mainstream won't show. Oh yeah, I've seen all sorts of really wild videos. Yeah, totally know what you're talking about. Especially like when he's reading a teleprompter and you're like, what is he? Like he'll be reading the teleprompter and he'll get like lost or something, and he just says so many bizarre sounding things. Not like Donald Trump hasn't done that before too. There's a couple of little flubs that are even too much for the mainstream media, but you'll still catch on Reddit and stuff that Donald Trump has made. Not anything nearly as bad as Biden, though, man. I'm still sitting here like, is Biden really, like, is that really going to happen? Can't believe things that I thought would never happen. Joe Biden president. Donald Trump president. I once made a joke that, you know, because everybody was all into Ron Paul, and I'm not a fan of Ron Paul, to be honest. I think that his understanding of economics is oversimplified and flawed. And I was like, Donald Trump is more likely to become president than Ron Paul. And what happens? Was a joke. It was supposed to be a joke. I wasn't serious. So yeah, this is going to flip on me, isn't it? So that Treasury is adjusting its liquidity a lot, but there's not a big 10K down at the lows anymore, but there is a lot at 03 half and 03. And E-mini is kind of skidding along sideways down here at the bottom. I'm worried about that it might come back up and bite us again, but it's going okay. Okay, 04 thickened up. Good deal. I guess the buyer was like, no, like, we're really serious about this, guys. And then the guy at 03, I bet you that, I wonder, do you think that the 10K that was at 03 half and the 10K that was at 03 were the same market maker or different market makers? And if they're different market makers, then maybe what just happened there is they went, oh, okay, you know what? I'm really not going to get filled. You know what? It's got to be different people, because that 03 pulled and it was like 3K pulled, and there's still 7K on it. So somebody sat there and said, oh, there's no way I'm going to get filled at 3. NIO can be exhausting if no new panic on sell off -6%. I don't know, man. For a name like that, I would much prefer to see a number like -20% or -50%. Come on. Oh man, I had a friend that was like, "Oh yeah, I'm long NIO, and I think that it's going to double from here." And I'm like, I first heard about that stock on TikTok. That means that there's absolutely no way it would be caught dead long in that stock. To be fair, here's I'll have to watch that later. Almost there. It's so close. Okay, 04.5 goes bid. They take 5K contracts there, and the E-mini at the same time dives. U.S. Treasury authorizes wind down of deals involving CEIEC, which is the Chinese export and import. Wait, what? It's a Chinese corporation. So we may be seeing some downside momentum off of concerns with China. Okay, so we got a pivot that was at 14 quarter there that they blew through. Kind of calling it here with the model becomes a little bit more difficult, because like for the stop outs of long market makers for the regular session, it's like way down there. So Janet Yellen tweets, "We face great challenges as a country right now. To recover, we must restore the American dream, a society where each person can rise to their potential and dream even bigger for their children. As Treasury Secretary, I will work every day towards rebuilding that dream for all." Yay, Janet Yellen believes in capitalism. That's good. I'm not following her. Well, I should follow her. And now all of a sudden I'm seeing all this stuff on Twitter about Janet Yellen. I wonder if they're scared. NIO 7%. Let's pull that up. We're going to come over here. We'll pull it up on this chart down here. Ooh. Yeah, that's ugly. It's ugly. Oh yeah, Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index coming in soon here. Previous reading 19.8. And they're selling pretty hard into it too, aren't they? Look at NIO just get creamed. Get it. Get it. Hey, all of those retail traders, just remember, you haven't actually lost anything until you sell. Oh, man. Okay, well, 04.5 went bid for a little bit, but they actually didn't hold a lot of liquidity on the other side of it. So. And look, some of the liquidity has actually subsided, so. Let's scratch that. No. Shouldn't have done that. It's okay. Okay, so the Dallas Fed came in at 12 versus 19 SPY 8 being the previous. Jeez, NIO now almost to 8%. So I'm noticing that even though there's some buyers, I'm not seeing a lot of buy liquidity come in here. You see that? Sell's willing to hold it out for, buy is not, but it is going back and forth there. It was the right spot. I'll try it again. E-mini is getting creamed. Yeah, okay, NIO is bouncing a little bit there. What about Tesla? Oh, Tesla's bouncing hard too. Maybe we should rearrange this. We'll move the VIX. Here, we'll just make this bigger. Put this one here. I'll put the VIX here. Tesla there. Okay. There, now you can watch both of them go down in tandem. Enjoy! Enjoy the show! Okay, so now I'm getting readings like 3603. It's probably going to change as we get down there, though. So interesting that the liquidity in the 10-year is behaving the way that it is now, though. Okay, now NIO is down more than 7. Oh, it keeps going. You are seeing the VIX rising off of this, by the way. Maybe it's the meltdown. It could be. I don't know. If it was really the meltdown, I would expect the treasuries to be bidding up a little bit harder than they have been. Let's make Tesla $5 again. If only. Listen, I'll settle for 500 if it gets to 500. Maybe that's what he meant. Remember, I posted pre-market. I said, hey, Tesla looks toppy. Just saying. I don't know anything the fuck I'm talking about when it comes to Tesla, and shorting Tesla is probably extremely ill-advised, but I did say it looked toppy and tweeted it. In fact, what did I say? I said, it's looking crazy toppy. I should have said it looks toppy AF. Oh, well. Great day, Bitcoin soaring and Tesla crashing. That's what makes Sunday Driver happy. But wait, what about your gold, man? I tell you what, that gold. every time I look at gold, I'm like, man, oof, ow, it hurts. I'm sure that it'll come back at some point, right? Maybe it's a good buy location for gold. I don't know. Okay, well, we are to a spot where I'm going to take profits because they touched the line and we're at 100. So I'm down. So how did that come out in the E-mini in the end? Oh, easy. I still made $60. You know, it's frustrating. There was that one where it actually went 9 ticks in my favor and it came back. So I was really frustrated, but it was really like two trades were bad. And then 2 trades were actually better than that. So it wasn't awful trading, actually. It wasn't. I was just getting in my head, was all. Well, do you think they will get 05 half? I don't know. I'm gonna play it safe. Gold unusual as dollar is tanking strange disconnect. Okay, yeah. Somebody just called me. Did somebody just call me a fat fuck? Oh my gosh. Like, I tell you what, I've been called many things in my life, but I think that is the first time in my life that I've been called fat. Oh man. I hope you're holding if that breaks, runner. I'll defend you. You aren't fat. Thanks, RJ. Okay, so I just warning you guys here in the E-mini. I'm not saying that there's going to be like a hard bounce or anything, but this is where I take my profits. Okay, it is at the stop out zone. So, there is a tendency once they hit that stop out zone to try and keep going, but when that happens, the way that it's happening is it's new people getting in and going short. The people that were all like long and got like washed out from say above 3620, those guys are basically already stopped out now at this point. So that's why I get out there. According to my model, at least. And if you would like to know more, you can go to speculatorseth.com. Should I start pushing that more? What do you guys think? Have you guys, I know a bunch of you guys tried it. By the way, Ace, if you downloaded and installed my indicator package, then you need to follow the instructions for the machine ID and send it to me. So, I don't know. I've been thinking about it because a couple of you guys have downloaded and tried it. But I'm having it as like a subscription right now. And now I'm starting to think, well, maybe people just don't want to get on a subscription. So it's $10 a month. You can cancel anytime. Gets you in on, it's done through YouTube. So you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Gives you access to a Discord channel. I think that there might be other stuff in the future that will add to it. But I'm kind of wondering, like, maybe people would really just rather pay it one time and then be done. So if you have like a really strong inclination one way or another, let me know. Also, I need to I have some documentation up coming. I'll probably finish writing that today if I get some time. I don't think I'm going to be working out still this week with the nose. It's still kind of inflamed and I'm concerned about hitting it. So it wouldn't be the first time I've hit my nose with the barbell. So, I'll get some more documentation kind of giving a deeper dive about how I use it. Okay, well that last little move down kind of made me think, well, that's too far. But now, recovering, I mean, it's kind of evened off. So even though I have an inclination that it's going to bounce here, I don't see that it has to happen. And meanwhile, NIO now well below 8% and quickly approaching a 9%. And we're not even, are we below the overnight lows? Yeah, we are now below the overnight lows. So I'ma just let it do its thing. It's kind of weird to be looking at it and not see like pivots below me, but that's just been like how long it's been since we've been below this level. Well, actually, it hasn't been that long, has it? It's just like, I only show like 3 days on that chart. Let's see here. Yes. Okay, yeah. So this is where we were the 24th, and the low on the 24th was 35.93. Well, I tell you what, a close below 35.93 would sure make the larger chart look really bearish all of a sudden. But let's look on some of our other metrics like the VIX and stuff. Um, 3604 was one target. Okay, so this is good that we took it off there. So then 3578 is the other target. Well, I tell you what, this could just keep going all day. I took it off, but it could just keep going. Like, we had like huge gamma melt up last week, and what always happens when the gamma goes off? So all of those market makers that had to buy the stock before start dumping it. I think that's what we're seeing. Tesla now down almost 5%. Almost 5%. And NIO down 10%. If we could get a 20% down day in NIO, I would be so happy. Would I be so happy? I wouldn't be happy about it, but you know. Now I bet that some other sectors are taking hits, right? Let's see here. Yeah, Sumo taking a hit, although not too bad. What about Goldman Sachs? Where's my Goldman at? It is at 231, so still above 223 is good. But down almost 1.7%. That's a lot for a big bank, man. That's a lot for a big bank like that. Now I'm starting to think, like, what should we call today's video? Gamma hangover leads to stock meltdown? Yeah, I wonder if Ace is still long that or still short that. So I kind of wonder at what point he would start taking it off. Well, he's going to trail it, right? Well, but he had it at the break even. So is he going to try and just hold it all day? That could be. I was going to say, we already I took the easy profit, right? By the way, where did I take that off? How much did I miss out on? How FOMO-y should I be? I should be very FOMO-y because I took it off. No, 3605. So not too bad. I took it off at a good spot. So if we're going for the next play, which is going to be less probable, but if that's where we're going, then we're looking at somewhere below 3580. So I wouldn't doubt him for holding it if he's still in it. Because what I look at suggests that if they really want to sell hard today, that they could keep going. Although that last little buy up there does look significant. Yeah, that's at least a short-term buy. In fact, I bet you they're going to come back up to 3605, aren't they? That would be, that's just a little bit too perfect. That's where the volatility stops were. And there's now a range stop at 3605. So yeah, they're going to take to 3605 and stop out. That one is like, you have shorts and they will trail their stops down, and they'll trail their stops like just above where the range is. And so that's 3605. Okay. And they took me out at 05 in the 10-year. Fixes that little boo-boo we made, which wasn't really a boo-boo. I think that I had I think that particular entry and where I took it was wrong. And I think that trying to get out and wrangle it around and was good. Okay, there you go. Yeah, the treasury's still bothered, man. What should we call today's video, man? So many choices. Gamma Hangover. You know what's something that has happened in my lifetime? A trend that really irks me. Really. This is so dumb. Double spacing. It's like when you were in school, what did they tell you about spacing, right? Because for me, it was always a period, 2 spaces. You have to have 2 spaces. You get that gap. It doesn't look right if you don't have the 2 spaces. And then what happened? Along comes Twitter. Oh, that extra space is a character. You can't have that. That's space that you could have put other letters in. So now everybody starts putting 1 space. But I kept doing 2 spaces. But now I am finding myself more and more having to delete spaces to make room in titles and tweets. And I feel so guilty about it. I feel like I'm abandoning my principles when I do it. You were never taught to use 2 spaces after a period? Really? Is it just me? I think it looks nicer. You've never used 2 spaces after a period? Oh, am I crazy? Wait, am I crazy? Period plus space is 2 spaces. Yeah. Is it period, space, space? And then, here, I won't do it. Wait. Oh, okay. Only in the last few years of school did I realize people used 1 space, really? No, they taught me to do 2 spaces. So here it is. Here is the word in this lorem ipsum generator. It does 1 space, and here's 2 spaces. Look, see how much easier it is to see where the sentences end? And that you're supposed to take a breath there when you're reading it? I think it looks so much better when you use 2 spaces there. But you know what? If you're younger than me, because it seems like it was a thing that changed. My grade 1 teacher predicted there'd be this thing Twitter, and I'd be thankful to use only 1 space. Yeah, right. Like any teacher ever. How much time did they spend teaching you cursive in school? Because when I was in school, they were like, you need to learn to use cursive because you're going to use it a lot in high school. And then when you got to high school, all of the high school teachers were like, I can't read your cursive. And if you turn anything in cursive, you're just going to get a 0. So that was the end of cursive for us. They should go back because you know what? To be honest, I don't think cursive's very good. No. Oh, by the way, the VIX just came back hard, so that's probably was the turn. Would not discount a move down later, though, especially when we get to like 12:30 Eastern time, right? That's... Ugh. My teacher cursived at me for my essays. No, they should, instead of teaching cursive, they should teach like something like Pittman shorthand or something like that, you know? Something that you would actually really, something that's really fast and you can transcribe everything. Or maybe just learn to be a court transcriber. That'd be cool. I guess that wouldn't make sense as a high school class. I've kind of always wanted to do something, but I don't have time. In another life, perhaps if I reincarnate, I will. If you come across those of you that are young, when I die in 60 years or whatever, I'm planning on living a long time. So, well, actually, it'd probably be more than 60 years, right? It'd probably be like when I die in 70 or 80 years. So 100 years from now, you come across some young upstart on whatever the online video platform is in the year 2310 or whatever. And he's trading, and he also happens to be a court stenographer or whatever they call it. That's my reincarnation. I had 1 ES contract, wouldn't be able to add more based on my strategy. Mistake on my part, not looking at Dom being ES and not MES. I tell you what, though, the ES has been hard to catch today. How many times did I take I took something and I wasn't able to get a good spot because they just hit the bids and... Really, babies born in 2020 have a 50-50 chance of living to 104 as a present. What, really? Is baby Asher going to live to be 104? Wait, sorry. Who did I say they? I don't. You would think that I have like a transcription of everything that I say in my head and I can go back and look back at it, but I can't. You have to be more specific about what I was saying. They might live long enough to know who won the 2020 election. There you go. Oh my gosh. Well, did you hear Donald Trump was saying that he doesn't think that those cases are going to make it to the Supreme Court? I was quite surprised by that. Oh, who is they? I was talking about taking out the volatility stop. Yeah, so they in that particular instance, just meaning the market in general, you're gonna find here. Let me come over and show you. So something that I have noticed. So do you see this little dotted purple magenta line? It's magenta, right? Yeah. Magenta line, and then when price crosses it, it flips over and it becomes a yellow line, right? So what it is it's an average true range stop. It's an ATR stop. So it basically takes the ATR at the time, and as price moves down, it will move it down and only in that direction. It'll trail it. But it'll only trail the ATR, right? So here was the low, and that's why it hasn't moved out since then. And then they go and they stop it out. And what you will find, it actually makes a pretty good filter, because once they pass that ATR stop, it basically means that, like, a lot of us will say, okay, well, we're going down, but we haven't had a pullback that's greater than the average true range, so it's still in a downtrend. But then that stops it out, and then a lot of people will say at this point, okay, we might be in a recovery. There's an increased chance that we're in a recovery now at this point, right? But I tell you what, this ATR stop, man, they go for it. It's like they will straight up trade to that location. And then I wouldn't even be surprised if they do it again. Say we're coming up here now. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that we are in a recovery. But what they're going to do is they're going to try and sell down again. I mean, we're getting pretty close to overbought here. So maybe they turn back around. Where are they going to go to? And I bet you that what they will do is they will go down to this ATR stop again, and they will stop all of the people that are using that ATR stop, and then it will flip, and then it will eventually move higher. If that is the scenario that actually plays out. So they, in this instance, who is they? I'm not exactly sure. I'm just going to say they, the market in general. Maybe market makers or certain algos or something to that effect. But there is a real tendency in the market to hit that. Right? They gun for it. And like, there's the thing is, a lot of people use that as a stop. It is not a bad stop, especially like on a down move like this. Hey, you know what? If you were ace, for instance, and you got out at 35.05, that wouldn't have been too bad of a trade, right? But yeah, this is a shakeout. It happens a lot. So that's what I was talking about. Yeah. I mean, they is because we don't know who they are, right? I wish I could come in and I could look at every order and see who it was, and then see that, oh, you know what? There's a lot of market buying here, and it's all coming from Goldman Sachs. And then as soon as it passed that line, they stopped buying it, and they actually started taking limit orders and going, I wish I could see that, but I can't. I can't see that. So they primarily just meaning the market. I'm going to bet I think that you want to have a different argument here, Kimbo, actually, don't you? Because I'm betting that what you're really saying is, who's they? There's no they. It's not like the market is out to get you or there's this or that. But you know what? There is. It can be. You can't know who it is. But individuals or groups of people can move the markets in the short term. The stronger money players, yeah. And it can be really hard to predict or understanding what they're doing when they're doing it. So one of the things that I find interesting, a conundrum of sorts. What should we call it? We should name this. We should name this. The technical analysis. I don't know. It's like an oxymoron or something. Contradiction. It's like sure. The technical analysis informed trader contradiction is this. Technical analysis traders will tell you that you do not need to know what is going on. You can determine what large players believe is going on and are doing by reading the tape. But they also believe in efficient market hypothesis, as in that the market price contains all available information. So if that's the case and you're really following large players, why would a large player make it so obvious and easy for you to read what they're doing? And I always thought, yes, I want to follow large players. But here's what I found was that by the time I could see using order flow, which is faster than what you're going to see on the chart, frankly, watching the liquidity and things like that, by the time I realize what the big players are doing, it's usually too late, right? They do their thing, they move it, and then you move it and you're all like, oh, that's what they were doing this whole time, was they were going to push it up to 138.060. And by the time it gets to 138.060, you're like, oh, shucks, I missed it. You're always late, right? The technical analysis informed trader contradiction. Yep, you join the party when the balloons are popping, fireworks are already going off, right? So, what can we learn from this to adjust our own strategies? And this is something that I've heard Futures Trader 71 talk about. He talks about, and I think he got it from this book, actually. Here's it. The Nature of Risk by Justin Mamis. Good book. So he talks about there is price risk and there's information risk, right? Price risk is which price do you take? Yeah. Information risk is like, well, what you find me doing a lot. I don't know if I really want to take it short here because there's this thing going on and this thing going on, and I'm not sure if it's really actually going to move from here. But the reality is that the more information risk that you take on, the less price risk you take on, and that for trading, you generally speaking will be better off taking the information risk and minimizing your price risk, right? So that means that the spots where those big players are going to be making their moves, where you can't really see what they're doing, right, are often places that seem quiet or unremarkable to us because they're doing everything they can to hide. And this is the conundrum with following. You don't want to follow. You want to know what they're going to do, possibly even before they do it, and trade it off of that. And then as you're in the trade, then what's going to happen? Everybody else is going to see the results of it and buy it up for you. And then when they all buy it up, you can make your decision about, okay, should it go further, or do I use these people as an opportunity to get out? Right? Which presupposes, of course, that in that instance, you are attempting to be an informed trader. So then you basically become the big players that all of the people watching the charts are actually trying to follow, right? You're actually making it happen. And the other side of it is you can be the market maker, but we kind of try and take advantage of both and watch the book and understand it so that we can get a better entry point. It's super hard in the E-mini though, man. I don't know. I guess I've been reading that book and I've been they talk about large tick and small tick and everything, and I've focused on like, well, the 10-year is the one I'm interested in. I want to know what, but maybe really I should be focusing on the E-mini so that maybe I can find something that will give me a better idea of where to get in, because I can catch really great spots in the 10-year, and it seems like in the E-mini that I have to screw it up like 4 times before I finally catch the trade that I want, you know? And that's a big part of why I've been holding off on trading that one live. Well, that was a big long blah, 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 blah. Okay. Oh, so Kimbo asked a question, but don't they have more tools than you, just more capital? Well, that's true for sure. And that's where the most important thing that you're probably going to a skill that's, I think, makes a big difference for you is understanding when you have edge and when you don't. Because if you're trading informed trading, you're going to have situations where what you know something, then it matters. And there's going to be situations where you know something and it doesn't matter. And there's going to be situations where you don't know something and it matters. Right? And that's really hard. And just getting the selection right is a big part of it. I'm not particularly great at that either. But yes, you're going to have situations where the large players are going to do things and it's going to be really hard for you to understand or predict. But every once in a while, like today, there's going to be a setup where you're just going to see it. You're going to say, okay, here's the market situation. Here's certain things that are going on. It's the end of the month. They tend to buy going into the end of the month because they have to acquire treasuries and so forth to be able to sell to their clients. And risk parity funds have to sell equities and buy treasuries. And we had a really big move up last week that was accompanied with a lot of gamma and rising VIX levels. And we tend to move down after we have a gamma rise like that. The gamma hangover is like a real thing, and we tend to move down after Thanksgiving. And you combine all those things together and you can say, yeah, I think that I would prefer to go long treasuries and short the E-mini. And in this case, you can kind of see the spot. It was like, okay, here's the liquidity looking pretty okay and in line with what I should expect to see at 03 and giving me a price, so I'll buy it. And then it starts going up and what happens? Oh, it's happening. 04 half. It bids up. Big orders come into the market. This is what I want to see. Big orders coming in. That means that they really are doing what we thought, that they're buying up treasuries because they've got to rebalance and everything. And they're putting their size out there to kind of help do the marketing making aspect as they try and buy it up and to help facilitate trading and acquiring the position, right? And then you get up to 05 half, 06, and then that's where we expect it to go to. And you're gonna have a lot of people that are like getting excited and they're buying at 05 half and 06. Like, look, 40,000 contracts bought at 05 half, right? But they missed the move. It was too late by the time they saw it. That's how I try and trade. Not going to say I have it all figured out, but it worked out today. this is ideally the kind of days I love to trade. Yeah. I think it was good trading for us, yeah. And I think we were on, I came in and I feel really good right now just because I was like, okay, there should be a time period where I should be able to find a little bit of an advantage. There's a lot of news going on and stuff, so we should be able to find something out of that. And yeah, it worked out. Of course, now Asa would say, well, you should have just gone short with me when I did pre-market, but I'm really actually quite surprised that where he took the short ended up working out so incredibly well for him, especially since he took it right after a piece of pretty bullish news that did move the index quite a bit too. And then it just turned into a sell from there. It was like, wow. Vlad says I was still waking up. Okay, well, you know, A says, no, I'm glad you didn't take the short. You know how the market makers always try to screw you over. Yeah, well, there you go. No, I should trade my strategy, and I could try and just only use Ace's signal because I know generally how it works, although very often I find him taking prices that aren't in line with it. And he still gets away with it. That's what drives me crazy about it, is that every time that he breaks his strategy, it still works out. And I don't know how he does it. I don't think he knows how he does it. He's going to come over. You can come over here in March or whatever, and I'll show you the back test of it, and it'll be like, well, this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, and we won't be able to know why. Based on pre-market lows, we've seen this pattern to retest those lows. Yeah, that's actually a good point, Vlad. I've noticed that the E-mini really is, I mean, there's like something like an 80% chance that they're going to break the overnight high or low. And so you can kind of just look at where those positions were from overnight, and they go for them almost every time. But yeah, so anyways, the gist of that was I can't trade it quite the same way that Ace does, and so I have to stick to what I know and use it when it's in line with what other things that I have. And I've kind of, I mean, when I took the trade that I did, I was intending to play the momentum the way that Ace does. It went 5 ticks against me, which wasn't too bad. But, you know, here's the thing. You also got to remember what the way that Ace trades it is that it is a moving average crossover. So the advantage to a moving average crossover is that you will get in at the very beginning of a trend, and then you can let something run. And what Ace does is he's getting like 2 points out of it first, right? So they do the moving average cross, they go 2 ticks, and then he's potentially out. And then somehow he just kind of knows somehow when to let it ride sometimes, right? So he kind of got lucky a little bit there on the first few, right? If that had continued, that might have started to become frustrating, because then it consolidates and the volatility decreases, and you stop getting your targets touched and stuff, and then it can become random. But with his, it just kind of just turned out just perfect. That it was a strong move down, and he caught the runner correctly. So me, I missed that one. Can I just take it? Nah, I have to get the right spot. Now, where did I take? I took 36.20. And I realistically, let's see. Realistically, I could have taken it maybe 5 points higher. There was this whole area in here where I got screwed over, though. I don't know how to time those better. Yeah, multiple contracts get hit at 2, move the rest to break even, let it ride if it goes your way. Lucas says he is really good at interpreting his system. His discretion is really good. That's why he is profitable. I think so too. And I don't use break even because I don't want to pay for commission. So I go one tick past. Yes, I get that. Well, I was thinking I was going to do it one contract at 2 and then one contract to run is what I've been doing a lot of recently. Although I'm often going for 4 ticks instead of 2. I often put my stop at 2 ticks. So a lot of the time I'm kind of trading the same way the Ace does, but with twice as wide targets and stops. But Lucas is right. It's like I don't get how he knows when it's gonna run. There's gotta be more that he's not letting on. Because it's like uncanny how often he catches those and they just go. And then it's the different day and they don't go and he just takes his 2 points and he's done and it's all fine. And it's like, how does he know? I tried to let it run and I got screwed. I don't know. It's just sometimes it's luck too. You know what's happened to me a couple of times when I was like really mirroring it was you would catch it and get out. And then I was doing something else, and I didn't take that one particular trade. And then I take a trade later, and that one ends up being absolutely terrible. And it somehow is just like the selection is like it, bad. You should never get screwed unless it just doesn't go our way. Well, I still get. Let me rephrase that, because at the beginning you were holding like a 4 tick stop, right? It is extremely rare that I get in any of these and it doesn't go at least 5 ticks against me. Some people talk about holding a 4 tick stop and I'm like, how do you do that? Because I cannot find that. Correct, 3 tick stop, but it's too close nowadays. Yeah, it probably is too close. So you use like 8 ticks? You need to get Journalytics so we can just look at your stats. Well, actually, we can go back and we can look. My stats aren't going to be very useful to determine how profitable our system is right now because we did a little bit of screwing around with some of the accounts. But we can look at like the MFE and MAE. No, but seriously, sometimes you just feel the market doing its thing and you just know. Those are the best trades. Yeah, I don't know, Lucas. Because how many times do I feel like I just know and then it doesn't actually happen, right? Like that could be confirmation bias. Okay, let's try like the last 3 weeks. Yeah. So the last 3 weeks I've had a couple of days that were bad. Actually, let's go even further back because it looks like I was doing a little good before that. But some of those days, yeah, okay. Oh, wait, what? 10/26 to 11. Oh. 10/26 to December. To there we go. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay. So up and then down. There you go. Average MAE almost 9 ticks. Average MFE 12. So I'm not quite getting the risk reward ratio that I would like right now. And you can see that when you include all of the bad trades and everything, it's pretty poor win rate right now. Not been trading, and here you can kind of see that. Oh wait, where did it go? Oh, here you go. You can see there's some in there though that are like YOLO trades or like screwing around that ended up counting for some of these big winners and losers, or just bad streaks. So kind of is not really indicative of like real performance. But we've been taking it more seriously since trying to take it more seriously since the past week or so. And we've done okay, I guess. Let's see here. Vlad says, and one has to be able to embrace the power of quitting, being able to walk away with a small loss or a small profit. Now, that's actually a good point, Ace. That one of the things that really stands out is that a lot of the time he will go and he will get his 2 points and then he'll just be done. But then there are times where he'll get the runner, and after the runner is done, then he's done, right? And if he takes a couple of losses, he'll keep working it out, but I don't think that he'll let himself go more than like lose maybe 8 ticks and then he's done, right? Right? So a lot of how his strategy works or is beneficial, maybe I should try programming that into the strategy and see what it does. To just say, you get your 2 points, you end the day. When you do that, probably the chances are that you're going to have your bad days are going to be a little bit worse than your average good day, but then your really, really good days more than balance that out, right? Yep, I only try to take a loss and be done, which is something that I've never really been. I mean, I've done it sometimes where, like today, I kind of caught my trade and then you can see I've kind of sat on it now. Or like I took it in the 10-year and I was like, okay, I'm done in the 10-year. Catch one over here, finally caught one over here, and then was done. I've been trying to correct losses by taking 1.2 times to make up. I'm not sure how it works, however. Yeah, I do that a lot, actually. Well, I'll program that today, and I'll try it. I'll try it managing its daily. I'll try writing the strategy to manage its daily P&L and quit trading after a certain P&L and see how that changes the expectancy of the system. The way that I trade, I think we have to say there's definitely some advantages to it. It's just I think there's still some issues, right? Like I'm not really catching the most advantageous spots. I really have too many adverse ticks and too many small losers before I get one that I'm comfortable with and runs. Casey has a question here. Just a second. What is the best tool to learn how to read these kinds of charts? Well, so the chart that you're seeing down in the lower right corner is like entirely my own invention. I don't think there's very many people out there using one range bars on the E-mini. And all of these histograms that you see on the lower ones are ones that I've programmed. Now you can try them yourself, speculatorseth.com. You can download it. When you download it, it gives you a 2-week trial. And then after that, it will require you to have a YouTube subscription to the channel for $10 a month. And I'm still writing some documentation on exactly what they're all telling you and what they mean, but there's like brief descriptions on the website that explain it. But really what I'm looking at is like this level 2. And we had a discussion about this earlier, but what I'm looking for in the level 2 is just remember these market makers, these people that have limit orders out there. especially if getting hit adds to a position. They don't want to take that trade against an informed trader, somebody that really actually has a good idea of where price is going to go. So if they pull or decide to hold more liquidity at a spot than is normal, you kind of have to wonder, why is that? And that's basically the gist of what we're doing. As we're saying, okay, here's the situation, here's what he's trading and he's factoring into his trade, and then we're seeing it confirmed with where he's holding his liquidity at. Thank you so much. I'm just getting along. Love the content. Well, thank you very much. If you're new, Casey, I have a video that is which one is it? It's like the best tip for beginning day traders that I have on this channel. That's what the video is called. You'll find, when you go to the front page, you'll see it. And but I'll give you the gist of the video is that edge is a competitive game. So if you want to have edge, you kind of have to develop it on your own. So I can teach you some things, but I don't have it all figured out. I'm just like some crazy guy that's dumb enough to stream it. And sometimes I do really terrible. Sometimes I do. Today was great, but sometimes I do really terrible, right? And what you need to do is you need to take what you can learn from other sources and then add on to it and discover new things about the market that are unique to you. Thank you. I'll watch it out later after this. Yeah. Because that's my immediate thought is like, I don't want you to treat this channel like I'm a guru and your goal should be to trade the same way that I do. No. What I'm trying to teach you is how to develop edge on your own. Most will lose 94% just like the mRNA effective vaccine cure. Oh, man. I'm working on that too. I do want to trade, but I'm looking at it more like a business, taking breaks when it's not going well and reviewing losses. Staying rational is best. Yeah. Well, I think that with I'm working on my own thing now. I just need the tools to help us. Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what, especially for short-term trading, looking at the liquidity is always going to help you refine your entries, right? Can keep you out of bad trades. It can help you pick better spots, time it better and stuff. Yeah, the other thing that I need to do with the Ace robot is to try more daily filters, like we're above the open, below the open, and that sort of a thing to it, and filter a little bit off of those sorts of things, because I think that he somehow factors that stuff in too. There's definitely something to there's situations where he's like, I'm looking long or I'm looking short, and I'm looking short, but right now, even though I'm getting an entry signal, I can't take it short because this bar is blue, and so you wait. And I don't know how he figures that all out, but understanding average of open positions is key. Where will players freak out? Where will they cover shorts? Well, where will they at? Yeah. And that's what the inventory cost basis, that's what I use the inventory cost basis indicator for. So today, great example. Dotted blue line down on the down here is the buyer's break-even level. Basically, if you were a market maker and you took every opportunity to take a profit as a buyer, this is where you would theoretically lose money. And what happens? They will break through that line and then bounce back up to the seller's cost basis position. And now, it was kind of almost like we almost called it to a T, didn't we? Right? Remember over here when we said, well, what's going to happen is they're going to come up. They're going to break the ATR here and move up a little bit. And then you're going to turn back down and break the ATR there. And now they're going to try and make a new low. But I'm going to bet you that they don't get it. I shouldn't make that bet. I actually am really unsure about that one. My inclination at the time right now is that the worst of it is over and that they're probably going to bounce higher, but I don't actually know. Sometimes that works really, really well, and sometimes it doesn't. But okay, well, it is time for me to get going. You like the title? I think that the title is good. Gamma Hangover, NIO crushed. By the way, how low did they get? Well, it was almost 7%, but now they're only down 5%. So, by the way, keep an eye on the market at 12:30 Eastern time, right? Is it 12:30 Eastern time? No, it's 12:30 my time, 2:30 Eastern time. Keep an eye on the market at 2:30 Eastern time, because on a day like today, where we are down overall on the session, there could be some margin calls come in. And especially in some of those names like NIO and stuff, right? So watch it and see if they buy or sell into the close. Seth Wen says, hi, on you. Oh, no, now we're going to be nice after you calling me fat, huh? Okay. Well, I'm sorry, I have to go. So I'll get you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.